That it.
Walt was, you gotta say got it, and then you're allowed to watch everything. I thought that Walt was going to do kind of Wally Wings for us tonight, or his version of that.
Yeah.
That is one of my more favorite patterns to tie. Again, kind of not so technical. It's just kind of practice as far as getting things out. So I guess until we see him, I'm gonna kind of cover some mayflies. And
Before you get on that,
yes,
I was on Al Beatty's channel Friday night, and he and Gretchen tied some really cool flies you might want to try. They're called the Gary LaFontaine Sparkle Pupa, I think it is.
okay.
And it reminded me of the fly that Walt was going to tie tonight, except it's an emerger. And it's really a cool fly. I'll send you the link to the YouTube video that he took of it as soon as he posts it, so you can see what it looks like. It's really cool.
That'd be great. I would love
Yeah.
to see that. And it just seems like with the way the week's been going and different things, it's something where every time when I do see an invitation from them, I'm like, oh, in the hour or being on a Friday. So anytime we can get a recording, I surely appreciate that for their presentation. That's awesome. And I think, again, I'll just kind of cover this. I didn't necessarily have anything planned. I don't have any samples for you guys. I do have a couple. Hang on. Gotta grab them. So I'm not going to do this in reverse tonight, but this is one that I really enjoy tying because it almost takes everything to the right brain, left brain, and trying to make that presentation because you're tying upside down. So I really enjoy tying this one. Here's another one in a green where it's basically one feather kind of coming all the way through and a little bit of dubbing. But I'm going to go ahead and, when I think one of the confusing things is that when people are saying, well, what are you fishing? And then we hear all these different acronyms, right? We're like, what's a PMD? What is that? And then you're kind of looking and trying to figure out or what basically you're trying to get a winged pattern off. So the most basic on some of this, and I've talked about this before, if you can find a natural with a paintbrush, if you can find a natural, and then I just take markers to it so you can see I've kind of marked this up. If I want a specific tail color, I'll just come in to this natural fiber paintbrush, and then that'll be my tail fibers on there. You can also use several different of your feathers to tie those in. As far as a wing on the back, less is more on this because as it weights down, you don't want to use the full feather. You just want a few sprigs basically to create that tail. And so what I have right here is, again, on that paintbrush kind of version, you don't need to stack it. I like the more natural of just kind of cutting it off and letting it do. But what I want this to do, since we just came off the techniques and artistic style of airplanes, I want this to stabilize my fly. I want this to particularly sit on the top portion of it and help hold up the back end of my hook. And so I just use the paintbrush portions. This is more on the natural side of it. And I tend to err on the side towards me as I'm tying this in. I'm gonna tie it in and anchor it down. On the tail version of this, I'll actually come in underneath and help just to keep it up as opposed to going down as we would with an emerger. You can come in now, cut on your pattern, and I'm just going to start with the tail section. On the Wally wing or that pattern of it, you can start with that, but it's very difficult to start somebody who's brand new into this because of the different, being very specific to it. So another mayfly pattern is honestly dubbing and hackle, and that'll do the same thing. It's going to lift, so it's going to support it in the back, and then your hackle portion of it right here is going to lift it in the front. and it sits on top. So I'm just going to show that real quick as far as a speedy version. So I'm going to come back a little bit, drop behind this, and just need to make sure Bob Betts isn't on this call, right? Only because he's gonna rip on me for how I do my dubbing, because I went back to my other way. I tried it his way for a while, but I really liked my own. So I go in the reverse. I've taken a cream color and kind of an orange color together. You can add a little bit of flash to this if you wanted to, but this is something where you need it. So kind of like silly putty or bubble gum, whatever you want to, but I break it apart, stack it on top, break it apart, stack it on top. And on this one in particular, this is just snowshoe rabbit. I'm not going to use this whole clump at the beginning portion of it. I'm going to pull out a little bit with my thread right here, come in, I'm going to grab the top fibers of that loop, or of that clump, basically. And as I go, and you can kind of see, it wants to stay connected. Doesn't want to break apart. Gonna come in. And I've got kind of a little nice dubbing on there. I know I want it a little bit more thick on this top because that's where I'm gonna build out. So I cross back, and then I start my wraps up towards the front. And again, just building the body on this, kind of come through. And again, I want this to have more of a profile that is a little bit more thick. So I'm going to come in, I can add a little bit more. So one of the big errors that we do with dubbing is you try to get it all in on one pass. What I like when we're mixing different dubbing, you can see it goes from cream to a little bit of orange and back to cream. That's going to cause some of that variegation in just the automatic lie as you're tying it in. So there I've got a body. And this next part, I'm using a size 11 hook. It's a real thing. I like it, but it is something where if I'm using too small on my hackle, it's not going to do what I want it to do. So I'm actually going to go more on an oversized. This is a good one for maybe even the scrap pile. You've got some that are in between on your size. So I pulled out a piece of hackle on this and going to come in, going to clear just a little bit. I'm coming in underneath at my 45 where I can pinch it in with my thread, come up, 2 wraps in front, 1 wrap behind, so that my hackle's laying almost perpendicular to where I'm tying right now. So it's a nice clean look. I'm going to go up, and worst case scenario is you're fishing this, it gets a lot of hits, and then the whole thing falls apart. So what I encourage is, come in now, maybe do your whip finish or your half hitch, whatever you want to do, but go ahead and anchor everything, because if you lose your hackle, you're still going to be able to fish this fly. And so I'm going to anchor that in. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start. I'm just going to start to wrap. And this is going to be almost exaggerated or oversized. Coming in. You can mix colors in this if you wanted to add, if you wanted to add another piece in, you could easily go with this and then maybe a lighter cream or a ginger. Come in and wrap, and I actually not happy with that wrap. You're going in, very touching wraps, very close to each other. Come in and anchor this in now. So I'm coming in behind. And I kind of position my thread because I want to pull my thread closest to the hook shank again. So that's in. I don't cut my hackle. You guys have heard me say this before. I don't cut my hackle until I'm done, because I know hackle will do crazy things. It has almost a mind of its own, but it will jump on you. So especially anybody coming in who's kind of new at this, so that they don't get as frustrated, go ahead and just move it back out of your way. Come in, maybe do your half hitch at this point. It's a good opportunity to also clean up if you have any errant fibers going too far forward. Come in, just half hitch on there. So you've already put in a whip finish, and then now everything's kind of anchored in. Now you can go in, clean it up, and then it's just a matter of finishing that portion of it. If you want to keep your thread white, if you want to make a different color on there, that would be where you could pull in a marker. Very simple to get a dry fly and understand how this all works. So again, it's going to hit the water, tail help support. The hackle's also going to help support on this, and it's a full take on that. You can come back in though. I always do. I use the whip finisher always to finish off my flies. No head cement, no nothing, and you're good to go on this. So it kind of gives, again, a different variant without the wings, because we've talked about the wings before, and we've done this a number of times. And the biggest trick on what I would say as far as Wally wings is the length and the dimension, so that you are not fighting your tippet and leader all the time, the entire time. Because if you oversize your wings, it's going to be a spinning mess. And same as with your tail, it's got to have the aerodynamics to work. So I'll put another one in, and starting this one off. And when I'm going to make the wings, I'm actually going to create the wing portion of it first. Before the other one you just saw, I added in the tail first. And on this one, I'm going to use some flank feathers, and I do have the full bin, the whole thing. You can get all different variations of colors, and you can find great big containers of these at Cabela's, and you can find other ones online. This is something where, again, it was Hobby Lobby, looked at it, thought it was what it was. Nope, that's actually not. It's something where, here's another one from Hargroves. So $4, and you get this whole bag. It is jam packed. Now, the question is the quality. So as you go through and you pull these out, it's hard to know which one. The part that I am looking for is a straight lie on the quill section of it, as opposed to when some of them get very bent. So again, this one's great, has a lot of fluff to it. It's kind of on the shorter side, so it would work. But if they're very crooked, just skip them. Just put them to a pile for something else. Don't try to keep fighting that feather. And so I've got about 5 or 6 pulled out here. I think some of them just talk to you. Okay, so great, perfectly straight on this portion of it. Now I don't need this fluff portion back here. And so for me, out of sight, out of mind, clear it out. So you're just going to pull down, you separate it. And then I still look at, and this wing section's a little bit shorter than I want. So I'm going to separate it again. And now I'm starting to get to a very good kind of quality of what I can work with. This is still a little bit fringy on the side, but we're going to give it a try. And the part with the Wally wing, it all goes into the prep. If I'm going to tie these and do multiple, I'll prep 4 or 5 feathers so that I can just keep going one after another, so that I'm not loading up this portion of it. And then I've got to stop and move over here. So on this part, I'm going to come in. It's a very deliberate. I'm pulling these feathers away or down, but I'm not using the same tension that I just did to clean that quill. And now I have a nice V. The rest of the portion goes up here. It's all in the prep on these feathers. The other side is I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to pinch these feathers away from the pattern that they were growing. Okay, so a very deliberate V right there. And I'm measuring this as you create. And so as I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty good length, because that's going to come out to be more than half, but it's not oversized. If I were to pull this much through and say, well, I'm making a wing this big, you can see it overtakes. That's where you're going to run into the aerodynamics problem. So separate that back up. Again, you're going to fold everything, go against the grain. So the two outer portions are touching, and that's my wing prep. So again, I'll have several of them laid out. Don't sneeze or cough, because then you'll be chasing a bunch of feathers. So on this portion of it right now, and the reason why this comes into play is because we're going to be separating out the fibers from the actual quill, and that's what makes the Wally wing. So on this, I'm going to kind of measure where I want it. And again, I don't want more than my length, but I want to come up, and it's going to be a positioning wrap, come up over the top, get it nice and secure. The next one's an anchor. So it's in place, it's not rolling. And now I'm going to come up and go in front. So kind of that a thread dam. And then I'm going to keep working this. I'm not going to use these back tail sections of it. I'm going to come in, and once it's anchored in place, I'm going to come in, cut those out of my way, but it's also going to help create that taper. So now I can come in and put those down. They're on the hook shank, and you can see already it's starting to build the thorax of that. Come back up, and I'm going to go back in front again. We think of these feathers as fragile. These things are so durable, and you know, the worst you can do is be off angle when you pull. So on this right now, and just to give you kind of an idea, so it's anchored in, and it's pretty much perpendicular. I'm good at this stage right now because I'm comfortable with working with this feather. At this point right now, I add in the tail, I add in dubbing, but as starting out on this, get your feathers in first, because if you rip one and it's not the correct way, then you want to start all over. And so if you get all the rest of it built, you know, tendency is that you're going to just keep on trying to work it and do everything. So on this portion, and I'm going to try to change the angle a little bit so that you can see. Now on this, I'm going to come in, I'm going to grab about 6 or 8 of these fibers, kind of just in the manageable, and I'm pulling directly down to the hook shank. Again, this is not my normal way to tie that. I'm going to put it backwards because I already felt that go. I'm going to pull it, and I'm going straight down. Now I can put it back to so you can see. So again, I'm pulling that straight down to the hook shank, and it's it's not a jerk motion. It's but it's very much to the shank. So you can see it almost peeling away there. And that's a trick. So now you can see that part of the quill, it's separated from the feathers. And on that section of it, I just come in, and I'm going to go ahead and anchor this, get rid of this portion of it. And I've got my wings that are created right now. And you can see as far as, you know, where they start to kind of lie in. This portion that kind of comes off, yeah, it has no purpose. And it looks really artsy, great. Kind of do one for your Christmas ornament or whatever, and then just get rid of them. Because you will twist in that as you're trying to put that fly in. You can come in, and when you're pulling down on the quill, you're creating that separation already. You don't have to go in like other wings that we do, but you can if you want to make a more purposeful split to that, and you want it more where they're going to the sides. I have one good wing, and I have one that's kind of a crappy wing. But it would show you, you know, again, you can split those just with your thread work. So crisscross, like you're sewing a button, and come on in. Now you can add your tail, and you've already got a lot of the body built. So it's not something that you need to go back in and like oversize it like we did the last one. But on this one, tail, same thing. Just going to grab a couple fibers here, put them in, and measure my length, go back and tie it in. And I don't have a whole lot of excess bulk to this. Again, when I do tails like this, I'm going to come up underneath. I just want that support. I don't know if that's a tried thing or a practice thing for my end of it. Now I can go in and add dubbing. So same dubbing that we already mixed before. Yep, I prep it every single time. Can come in. And don't put too clumpy on, because you can always go back and refill that shape. So it starts a little bit thinner. Come in. I'm gonna hop in front. And at this stage right here, you could go in and add in your hackle on, or you could fish it like that. I like the hackle. This is not going to keep it up as far as buoyancy. It's just for the profile. And so I like having the hackle in there, just kind of an added element on that. I don't know what that wing did, but this wing's really good, by the way. And then just tie it off. So again, we've already got some extra. I'm not going to use that little one. Same on clearing the hackle. I'm going to come in right behind. Come up underneath at that 45. Lock it in twice. Go in front. And you can go as sparse or more. You can make this jump and go to the front if you want to. Just make sure everything's kind of positioned back so that it's out of your way and you get a nice roll with that hackle. Come in, and this is the part again with tying in your hackle. I do 2, lock it in, get it out of the way, and I'll just, before I can even pick up my whip finish or anything on this fly, we're just going to come in, get 1 in place. It's my confidence. That way I know that I'm not all the way done with this and all of a sudden the whole hackle jumps. It is part of that. You can finish off with a whip finisher. No need for head cement or UV or anything else. If you're going to come in with your whip finisher, make sure everything's cleared back out of your way. Go in and finish it. And there you have basically your mayfly. Anybody have anything?
Very nice.
Yeah, I love it, Amy. You said that the paintbrush you use is natural fiber, but what kind of natural fiber?
Good
Is
question.
it boar or deer or horse or?
Let's see. I have a whole bunch of them here, and I don't see anything written on any of these. Let me. Okay, so can you see this one that I have?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
All I know is it's super fine. I love the just the feel of it. This other one is really, really coarse.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say anything about the different kinds. And I have had, so I've gone to that other world too sometimes. This is totally synthetic, but you can kind of see the sheen on that. But what I liked so much was that gold color. These are all just, they're fake. They're not anything natural at all. And so it kind of depends on what you like to play with for trying them out. Here are some other ones that again, I can tell you how much they cost. But I can't, well, I can tell you how much they cost like 20 years ago. But I have no idea on the materials, but they're amazing because they have, oh my gosh, talk about just the how soft they are. So I'm trying to,
Well, it's probably badger.
I don't know. I mean, I can try to do a little bit more research on them. And again, I can see where they were made. This one's at Grumbacher out of New York.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Artist brushes.
Yep. Oh yeah, they are. But it's funny when you all of a sudden have a whole bunch of them where you're like, why are all these missing? And then why are all these missing on that one? So it is they're just kind of fun. You can find them anywhere.
Maybe I need to go raid my wife's paint box.
I heard nothing on that. I do not even know you, John. The other thing is that a lot of times too, and I mean, kind of laughing about it, but you know, we've talked about the dollar store before, and sometimes in the makeup section, the different brushes that are available in the makeup section, and you're just kind of looking at it going, I don't know, does this look right? They're actually great, and they're a lot of natural fibers too. Some of the other ones that you'll find are kind of for stenciling, and these are extremely coarse. I mean, they're almost hard to even get through, but they serve a purpose also. So it is something. It's kind of trial and error, but it's kind of a cheap trial and error as to the trying to figure out which ones. Does
I use
anybody
shaving
have?
brushes.
I don't
You know,
know, because aren't those natural fibers too?
Yeah, I've used them and they work pretty good. And you can get them in different types of natural fibers. So
Well, and I think the biggest part is just kind of, again, the presentation, just how it looks on there. I've actually taken some of them on the tail sections and tried to, you know, even curl them up more so that it had more of the mayfly. I've tried to cover some of these with thread and different things too, just on that whole, the presentation wise. It is something with our temperatures. I know today they're all over the place. We're back in the 30s, but yesterday 65. Yesterday when I was out, I had the best urban fishing that I have had ever. And they were taking, I had 2 hits that I just kind of stood there and watched because they took a grasshopper, and I stood and kind of went, did you really just take that? Just great big old huge fish. So it is something where, you know, even when we think that a dry fly shouldn't work, you know me, they will. But I like the shapes of them. They just make sense to me. And I'm probably more out of water than I am underwater with emergers and all that stuff. I can picture it, but I haven't studied it enough to know. I get the whole stages. But I like doing the dry flies. So
yeah.
Anybody, any questions or anything other than, sorry, I kind of went to the whole impromptu. I guess we were thinking Walt was going to give you that whole presentation, but
He's on.
He's on. Yeah.
oh, there he is.
Amy, I put the link to BT's Fly Tying Friday on the chat room.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm sorry, my computer isn't working. I grabbed my wife's on to finish it up. Now, my mayfly is completely different than you. It's completely different. Can you hear me?
Your audio is off,
Well, crap.
at least.
It's very garbled, Walt.
Yeah.
Just barely understand you.
I'm looking for it on my wife's order. Is this better?
Still having a hard time hearing you.
How's this?
We can hear you, Walt, but it sounds like you're, a long ways away,
Sounds like you're in a 55-gallon drum.
see the microphone. I can see he's on, but I can't hear anything at
Yeah, I
all.
can't hear him anymore.
How about this? Can you hear me?
Still a little.
You might try getting a little bit closer to your microphone if you can.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, but you're hard to understand.
Yeah, I think Walt, it's probably gonna be, is your computer still in the shop?
No, I got it next to me. It's just, it won't get in on the, Rick and I made a program for myself and it won't let me get in your program.
I don't know that that's gonna work for tonight. I don't, unless you log out and maybe try to log back in, but it looks like you didn't, it looks like you didn't enable the microphone. Because we're not picking you up through that. Do you have it open on your phone as well?
Yes,
Okay.
no, I don't. Let me shut this on the computer off. How's this?
Half a notch better.
Well, maybe I should, try to get my computer going because I know
Are you on Linda's computer or are you on your own computer?
Windows.
All right. I don't know that we had, I don't remember last week or when we had that on, but I think you were trying to call in and you were on hers and we could pick you up okay, but tonight we can't. It sounds like you're underwater.
Yeah.
I'm in the basement.
Well, no, I didn't mean like the actual location where you were. I'm just saying.
Saying, I'm down below ground.
Yeah, we've had you where you've been in the basement before, but for some reason this is not picking up very well on ours.
You know how many flies I've tied this week to practice?
Well,
Walt, on
So-
my
so-
screen, just to at the lower left corner is a button where you'd mute your microphone and stuff. And just on the right-hand edge, there's a little up arrow that you can click on and it shows you what microphone and stuff you're actually using. It'll have a check mark by it. And
Yeah.
it'll give you if you have any other options as well. So what do you see when you click there that says what microphone you're actually using? Yeah, I think you've muted yourself
Yeah,
now.
you're muted yourself.
he found the microphone button.
Yeah.
All right. So Walt, try to unmute yourself again, that microphone one. Well, Walt's trying to do that. Does everybody, when John said he dropped the information about Alan Gretchen Beatty over in the chat. Does everybody know where that is? It comes up like as your bottom screen, but it'll actually have a button that shows participants, chat. Then it has another one that says share screen, record. But if you click on the chat, it'll appear over on the right-hand side of your screen. And that's where John dropped that link.
You hear me
for this
now?
board.
About
Yeah,
the
about the same, Walt. I hear you, but you're kind of soft.
Yeah, they also did some Friday night. They were also tied some carp flies. So I
Ooh.
invited everybody to the Great Plains Bonefish Invitational Tournament in August. So we'll see what happens.
Hey,
Excellent.
excuse me, but can you see this slide?
Yep.
This is basically my version. of
Hey,
it.
John, is there some reason why you have this tournament in August?
Yeah, actually there is. And it's tradition more than anything else. We started the Randy Naran tournament, which is a 3-event tournament, and we started in May, June, and July, and we have one outing every month. And so the only month left open to go carp fishing was in August, and it turned out that August was a really good time to fish for carp out in Lake Ogallala and Lake McConaughey, according to our carp guides, that is.
Isn't it a little warm that time of the year there?
It's more than a little warm. Yeah,
You're in
it's
the water.
yeah,
You're in the
it's-
water waiting and,
Yeah.
you know, that stuff.
It's
So,
it's like fishing the flats in Florida. Most of the folks wade the shallows. That's where we fish for carp in the weeds, and it's amazing how similar the two are.
well, I guess, I don't know where Walt went on, I'm not picking up any better video. So Walt, look, why don't we do a test run maybe during the week and we'll try to do a redo maybe next
Yeah.
Monday or something. I know you spent a lot of time, but good thing is you did all that time already, so you won't have to go back and retie all those flies. You can use them but we're not picking up any audio from you in the presentation. And the only thing I think is if we just do a clear test on the meeting, make sure all the mic buttons are on that are supposed to be on, because it almost seems like it's picking up on an auxiliary, which doesn't really make sense
Hey, Nick,
on that.
Nick, can you hear me?
It's you're muffled. We could just hear noise.
Well.
Hey, Walt, can you sign?
Usually what I try to do is get on, I'm usually on by 5:30. So if anyone wants to try any video, audio, different things, that's what I was doing actually before to see if I could get my new phone to work. I was having technical difficulties, but usually I'm on a little bit earlier if you guys want to try it. Unfortunately, I can't offer this for next Monday because either late Sunday or sometime Monday, I will be traveling to Eglin Air Force Base for work. So Margie will be holding the meeting for us. So
Yay,
And when you
Margie.
get to Eglin, say hi to my family.
we'll do.
So you guys better behave.
Okay, I see.
Oh,
Yeah, say hi to mine.
Ew.
Say hi to mine too, because they're all in down there as well.
I have a lot of Desert Storm friends there. Walt, I see your message. I'll give you a call after the meeting. But yeah, I have a lot of my friends retired out there, so I've already kind of put the hint, hey, I'm going to be in the area. So it'll be a lot of work and then a lot of fun after.
Where are you going again, Miss? Where'd you say it was?
Eglin Air Force Base, Panhandle of Florida.
That's where I took my OV-10 training.
Oh, did you? Man, I
Yeah.
like those planes.
Did you ever, did you ever get a chance to go down there when Bacon's by the Sea was still there?
The what?
Bacon's. It was a restaurant and a hotel out on the peninsula.
Probably not. I think the
Okay.
first time I was ever there was maybe about 10 years ago.
Okay, no, they'd already torn it down. When I was going through OV-10 training, we used to all go out there because that's where Jimmy Doolittle planned his raid over on Tokyo.
So that'd be a cool place to go for history.
Wow.
Yeah, they even had his table where he sat with his guys and made the initial plans. They had a kind of little thing on it and everything. It was really cool.
That is cool.
You know, I know the summer of '69 when I visited Eglin for the first time, I thought it was the hottest, most humid place on the face of the earth as far as having grown up in the Central Valley of California and then in the high mountains of Colorado and then going down to the panhandle of Florida in the summertime. They talk, you know.
Not even close, Roger. You need to be out here in August and July.
Yeah, when they said December, I'm like, all right, I can handle that.
Nebraska in July and August is 90 degrees, 90% humidity.
I don't survive on that type stuff.
Now we have two sayings here in Nebraska. If you can't stand the heat, you're not going to fish in Nebraska. If you can't fly cast in the wind, you ain't going to fish in Nebraska.
So I guess you just
We had all
troll there, right?
No, I fly fish in the wind.
Hey, Mick.
Yes,
Mick, there's a
sir.
great place. There's a great place to go eat dinner. It's AJ's on the Bayou. It's on
AJ's
Edwin
on the Bayou.
Parkway. Yeah, they got
Okay.
really good food there, and catch it at sunset time. You could sit outside, and I'm sure the weather is going to be nice there for you.
Yeah.
And you might run into a couple of my brothers there if there's some drunk dukes. That's my half brothers.
That's your brother? That's family.
Well, if it's
Yeah,
the
I got
same
6
one
of them down
remember,
there.
if it's the same one I remember, Terry, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a great place to eat.
Yeah, it's been named a couple of different things, but now it's AJ's. AJ's has like 3 locations, I think. But this is the one that's not on the beach, but it's on the water, and you can get in there easily enough. When the other places you'll be an hour waiting down on the beach.
Yep.
Well, we've got a couple programs down there too. So in case you get stranded, Mick, you know who to call, right?
That's something I always thought about when I travel for Boeing, is to start looking to see where the programs are and then throw them a shout out before I head out that way and just see if they have their meetings to just kind of swing by.
Yeah,
So,
do that.
Greg,
I did it when I was out in Colorado a couple of years ago, and I'll tell you, I had a ball with those guys. We
Yeah.
went up on the Arkansas and did some fishing and just had a great time.
yeah,
Up near it,
Greg
Leadville?
Hogaboom.
You
Go
go
ahead,
up near
Terry.
Leadville? Leadville on the Arkansas.
I'm sorry, Terry, say again.
I said, did you go up to Leadville, up in that Arkansas, headwaters of the Arkansas there?
I've never fished up in the Leadville area. I've fished up around Salida and Buena Vista and
Okay, that's just
Up
a
in
little
that
further
area.
downriver. Yeah.
yeah. I fished a lot in Twin Lakes too, and the tributary that comes out of Twin Lakes into the Arky. The problem is it's all private land now. You can hardly get in there anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all of Colorado.
Unfortunately, yeah, you're right.
Oh, but as,
In fact, most of the
As we have-
states anymore.
as we have Jim Stanley on, so he's in Colorado Springs right now. He's probably either nodding or shaking his head going, wait, you just have to have the connections to come fish in Colorado, right? That's a trick, right, Jim?
Well, Jim did put me onto some great waters up in the Taylor Canyon, the Taylor Park area. So this summer when I was out there, I put Fish Spring Creek, and it was more fun than I had a right to have.
I was really glad to hear that too.
Yeah, it's and I think that's one of the things. I know I've mentioned it multiple different times, but just imagine where we were, 2 years ago. We didn't even know virtual, right? We had no idea
Yeah.
that we would be able to connect like this. And then the fact that we've been able to do this and we've really broken down a lot of it's like, hey, call, hey, I'm going to be in Florida, I'm going to be in Nebraska, I'm going to be in Colorado. Just the comfort level for folks. But I'm hearing more and more that are just, trying to figure out like who to connect with. And then I'm seeing more involvement from folks who snowbird, which is amazing for this area. So they're headed south and they want to hook up with the program south. And, it's kind of with Welcome Arms. It's been the most remarkable. We could never have even kind of imagined that, but it is fun. And you got Pensacola right there. Greg is the program lead and Eglin. And they don't have anything planned next week that I'm aware of, but I'm sure they can put you on some water if you happen to fly with your fishing gear, Mick. If not,
Well,
I'm sure
that's
they
why-
have some you can use.
Yeah, I got my trampoline rod that I built that you gave me the
Yeah.
blanks for. So yes, it will be
You might-
packed.
Well,
Yeah, let me echo Amy's sentiments. We started our own program here in Omaha, and since that time, I've gotten to meet some of the most amazing people I think I've ever met in my life. Not only you all, but people like Al Beatty and other people that I never would have had an opportunity to meet on this virtual system. And it's just, yeah, thank you, Amy, for introducing me to this and everybody. This was the first channel. This was the place that for me it all started, and it's just going like crazy. I appreciate it.
We've done this a few times, and I don't want to turn it into a big rah thank you, except for the fact that Mick and Margie are the ones who bought the access for us with Zoom, and
Hi, Margie.
Hi.
we are not allowed to say Zoom, I guess, on the frequency of Project Healing Waters, because it's not the supported channel. But Zoom for us, as we were testing different things, was accessible and it made it work. And so, between you guys giving us every single Monday of your lives going, really, another Monday, here we are. But what's great is we've actually had a lot of people who have joined us for 1 or 2 meetings at Knoxville, West Virginia. We've had a lot of folks who jump on this, they see the platform of it, and then they go off and catapult to their own. And it is something where it gives a little bit more of a private network. It's not on Facebook Live, which people really appreciate, that it's just kind of by invitation, but it's here to stay. And I think that's kind of the really neat part of it. But it's something where, again, 2 years ago, you couldn't have even talked me into virtual. I mean, I was the one. You could not have even, you were like, oh, you're going to use your phone for this, and you're going to use it. No, I'm not. But it has served a purpose, and it really is something where you feel like you can actually walk into an airport and recognize somebody, which is really cool too, or walk in, and pull in and go, hey, I've met you before. So that part of it, I'm extremely appreciative for everybody's patience on all this. We saw it tonight. I know Walt's probably either muted or still cussing. I think he's probably, because it's so, you try to put on the best on this part too. And, but I think, it's getting there with that part of it. We've got about 9 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions to anything fly tying? If not, we'll kind of start figuring out what we want to do the next couple of weeks. I know the holidays are coming up. And as far as travel wise for some folks, and we can kind of go from there. I switched back over my camera because I'm going to show you. Yes, this is the bomb. As far as this, so it has a little bit of the top section is the foam on there. Then I did hackle around, but did the same pattern that we were just doing as far as dubbing, and then a little bit of tail section. And this, even if it gets a little bit more submerged, it's still got a good sight for me to be able to see. So I love parachutes. It is something where the bigger, and I don't even know where my hex fly is. Back to John's. Are you trying to scare him? Here you go, John. Maybe.
There you go.
So how about that big ugly for a
Oh
stimulator?
my God.
It's been beat up too. but it's gigantic from that side. So, and I had a really, oh, here's a hex. This is another one where I love it. I was so happy with this fly. Sorry, I am breaking my own arm. I was just so happy with the way this turned out.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And
That's
Yeah.
really cute.
I love it.
so it has a little bit of parachute, has the hackle like I like, but underneath, and you can see as far as with the yellow thread, you come off the tail, then make a little bit more of a tail. And you're not cutting any of these materials, you're actually making them more that channel to hold up a little bit air. So
That's cute.
it has some great buoyancy. And it's very long,
Looks like a
as you can
Sam
see.
Tatum. Or Sam-
Yep, it's
or
called a
Sam-
hex, I believe. If I have my,
Longer.
so that's anyway, so that's it on the fly tying. But this guy again, this big ugly bug gets it done all day long. Love it.
Amy, have you ever
Uh,
tied extended tail mayflies?
I have. I'm not real thrilled with the way, so I've done that on a needle. And so I put the needle in my vise, tie it on where the point of the needle is back here, and tie it forward, and then you can slide it off the more tapered end of the needle. And it's okay. I mean, as far as I have some extended bodies that I've used as far as the manufactured. I like them, but it's not my hands down favorite way to go on that. But I have had that. I have a hex where it comes off the back this equal amount, and it's a bigger fly, and it comes off that equal. And so all of this that I did on this portion of it, all that's done on the needle.
Okay.
And then just pull it
I found a
off,
method
like-
on YouTube, and if I can find it again, I'll practice it, and maybe one of these weeks, because I think it's a great way to tie extended body flies. And I'll see if I can figure out how to do it, and I'll do some demos.
And you use it as if you didn't have a hook eye on the front, at all. And so you just tie this would be your needle right here, and you can use your vise the same. So you don't have to do anything else. You just put the needle in there, tie it. So start your thread, put your materials in, and then you taper everything. And this is kind of an X wrap on the threads. You can see, then just finish it, just pull it off, and it'll separate out like you're taking a straw wrapper off of a straw. And then you attach it in. And yeah, I mean, I've liked them. It's a lot for me. It's a lot of prep. I've seen people who've done them almost with a hot glue. There's a lot of extended body techniques. And then, you can also come back in and use a foam for as extended. So you actually would do this over your needle and lay it in. Same with any kind of foam, but you could do that as well. Give it a little bit more buoyancy. But yeah, anybody who can do any research on that. I'll go ahead and put my big old monster back up in here, just so you guys you can see. I laugh and play, but I don't. No, I laugh and joke, but I don't play. Is that how it goes? This thing, it's a mess. It's got foam under here. It's got hackle. It's got everything. This will stay up all day long. Got my legs in there.
Yeah, but will anything bite on it?
I had 2 yesterday. I had 2 come up, and I mean, and this thing, it was one of those where, you know how you're laying in bed and you kind of startle yourself, like after that good miss, that you're just going, oh man, and
Yeah, I do.
you're kind of laying there. I could still see that fish's face hitting this, and I'm like, I told you, I just stood there and watched it, going, are you kidding me? Anyway, it is. And then, I mean, easily right now with this size, you could do a dropper off that, go about 3 feet. Seems to be for our temperatures right now. And I do have the hook. This is barbed. And so this will actually keep in my other line. Some people will tie in their line on the back. I feel like that really gets in my way. But it won't slide off. I've actually done this on one that was completely barbless or filed down more, and I lost a couple. But yeah, I had two serious takes on that yesterday that got me to the point I was laughing. And it's just fun to watch. So I don't know, but so you guys all know the wind thing, like west is best, east is least?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm one of those nerdy people. I do keep track. West was the wind yesterday. I'm telling you, it was hands down the best day I've ever had with urban fishing. It was just one of those where I kept thinking again. And I
I
had a
bet you watch
crappie.
look at the saloon tables too, don't you?
I do not. I do not go that far. But ever since I heard that little rhyme, so anybody else who's new coming in, so what, I don't even know if it's west is best, east is least, south it goes in their mouth, and north is it worth, but that doesn't rhyme with north. I don't know what the north is, but it's something about like, is it even worth getting out there? But I am a believer. So I'm hoping for a lot of west winds in the next couple of months.
My dad told me that you always fish up on the upwind side of the lake because it's blowing the hot water off and it's keeping the cold water up. So, of course, this time of year, I may
Maybe-
have to reverse that.
I don't know. Well, and you know, Jim Saraceno, who's not on right now, and he always looks at lakes and he's like, I don't know what to do with this flat water. And I said, work it like a channel, because look where the wind's going and look how it's creating its own channel. And sure enough, anyway, it was fun. So on that note, it's meatloaf night. Walt, sorry for your technical difficulties. I'm sure there were some great flies. I'm sure you are very frustrated, but we will try this again next week with Walt's flies. And anything else, kind of winter fishing or anything else on Monday, since Margie's going to be the one who's heading this up, since Mick will be on an airplane or in Florida with his feet in the sand. Anybody, anything you want to see? Midges? Do we want to see what's on the wish list? Oh, you guys don't want to leave it to me because you know what I'll pick.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's white thread, right?
white thread, and you guys will be watching a caddis.
Yeah. How about a humpy?
Oh man. Okay, Jim. I just saw Jim. Will you do your humpy again
Yeah,
Okay.
next Monday? Thank you very much. That thing can have me throwing deer hair in the trash faster than anything.
oh my God.
I don't know why, and I like them a lot. But I love to fish them, but yeah, for some reason they never look right on the proportions for me. Never. No matter, and I probably in all total have done 4 that actually look like I would even give them to anybody to fish.
I've never tied one. Thank God for Jay Stockard.
Well, Jim is going to give us an education on a humpy, and he sent out materials last time. Jim, I'll dig that up and send it out to everybody again. And if not, then I'll be sending an email, please, asking you for the instructions again.
Yeah, and I think I was trying to think of, I did 2 patterns, 2 of them. I think it was Charlie Craven that had the one that actually gave you the best proportions.
And it isn't the easiest one to tie, because the first one's kind of the traditional, like how
Yeah.
it started. And then Charlie figured out how to make it into a real tires fly.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't
So,
have to
yeah.
be quite as critical with your measurements.
Would love to see it. I think that's a great one. And on that note, everybody, stay healthy this week, and we will see you all next Monday. And it's meatloaf night, so yay.
Nice.
Spaghetti.
May the force be with you.
All right. Take
There's
care, all.
always one fish out there
See ya.
that's less picky about how that tie's flied than I am, so.
We will and you know what, I'll end with this. So the wrong fly is the right fly eventually.
Yep.
That's something to
Yeah,
think
that's
on.
right.
Night
All
all.
right, take care all. Thank you.
Hey, Mick,
Yes.
did you see the 2 things I sent you on your phone?
Just now, or
Yeah, just now.
I can see it. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, so the first place is the AJ's on the buyer. That's closer to Eglin.
Okay,
And if you and that's a nice place, and you'll enjoy it. I'm sure. Another place to go is the second one, which is the golf restaurant.
okay,
You can go all the way out Eglin, go across Brooks Bridge onto Okaloosa Island,
okay,
and you make the first left after you come off the bridge, and you just follow that back. And
okay.
that's a real pretty open place. You know, if it's a nice day, I'm talking about nice days, of course. They got furniture that you can sit outside. You can go ahead and Google it and see the furniture. You can sit outside and you know, have a beer or burger, and most of those places, both of those places have a better than average food. So and a good place to go. Are you going to be there with other guys from Boeing?
Yeah, one other person.
Are you gonna be able to rent a car?
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a car. You know, we share a car, so yeah, it'll be me and
Okay.
a person.
Well,
I
there
don't
you
know
go.
who
You can
yet.
so you can easily get to either one of those places. If you haven't been to the Air Force Armament Museum right there at Eglin, go
Yes,
see
I know.
that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see that. I remember that now. That
Yeah. And if you have really spare time, to go over to Pensacola Naval Air Station, and they got a beautiful, fantastic Naval Air Museum.
Yeah, I want to go there. I don't know if I'll have time for that, but I definitely want to see that museum sometime.
Yeah.
The things
All
about
right. Well, thanks again. Have a safe trip.
Yep.
And so you're flying down to Pensacola. I mean, Fort Walton Beach.
Yeah, Fort Walton Beach at Niceville or Fort Walton, you know, that
Niceville. Yeah.
Niceville. I don't know if it all depends. I'm hoping they want to test Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Friday or Monday and Friday will be travel days. And so that's what I'm pushing, because if they're like, oh, we want to start Monday, then I'll have to leave Sunday night. And so
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, hate to give up my Sunday, or, you know, we have plans on,
I hear you.
I'll be flying out late on Sunday and then be dragging on that Monday. So I'm hoping that's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday testing, and then
Yeah.
leave
Okay.
and on
Well,
Friday.
if you have downtime, those are a couple places you can go.
Yeah, we usually have downtime, and it just, you know, we have the evenings that's, you know, we'll work with the customer, you know, starting around 8, and then he want to be done by 3. So
Yeah.
the whole evening then.
The other place to go to is oh, come on, Terry, I'll think of it. It's in Destin, a little bit further east. Right across the bridge is McGuire's.
McGuire's, okay.
McGuire's. And they got the 18-cent bean soup.
Oh.
And they have good beer. My adopted daughter's husband is one of the brewmasters there at
Oh,
McGuire's.
really?
Yeah. And they were both Air Force. Yeah. Connolly. Anyway, yeah, and you're just renting a car when you get there.
Yeah, we rent, and it's all Boeing paid for. So everyone's like, well,
Sure. Okay.
like,
Yeah,
no, it's an expense.
I've got 5 brothers and a sister and all their families that live down there in that
Oh,
Fort
wow.
Walton Beach area. Yeah.
I've got like a lot of friends retired out there. So every time I'm like, they're like, when you coming? When you coming? I'm like, rare.
Oh, good.
It's rare that I go to Eglin. It's
Yeah.
something that we don't do. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're going to Eglin. It's because we have to look at a jet upgrade, and they always do the upgrades to these 2 test birds out of Eglin, and then they test them out, over the Gulf. And they're like,
Yeah.
hey, we really need you guys to test the 2 birds out at Eglin. And it's like, I wasn't planning on the trip, but then we have a trip going on. The guys are already there at Nellis, and they're there for 2 weeks. And then they're like, well, who's going to cover the Eglin trip? And I was just sitting there and like, Nick, you got to do it. I'm like, you sure? It's like, I'll do it. But so that's how I ended up with that trip. So,
Yeah. Oh, you'll have fun.
oh, I will.
Well, when do they run their sorties? Usually early in the morning, right?
Yeah, early in the morning. And that's, the active, the normal squadrons. And then they got the test out there too. And that just depends on, I don't think they're going to be flying those 2 planes. One of them is going to be down for us to do weapons testing on it. And so they gave us this week to do the weapons testing. So it's like, all right.
Yeah. Well, that's a beautiful place to go bomb.
Oh, I know. And it's, my friends live out
I
there.
did bomb.
He always says they're always doing stuff. And he goes, it's always on the news if they're going to be testing something big, and they got to let the public know. And he goes,
Nah,
off the
they
big.
don't.
Oh, because he said when they said,
We'll be having, my brother lives west of there off of 98, and
okay.
he lives right up against the Eglin, what do they call it? The big overall property, whatever the name of that is. Anyway, the Eglin property, let's just say that. I can't think of the name. And we'll be out back drinking a beer, and you see this I can't remember names of anything anymore, but the big slow planes, and you'll hear this, you'll look out there and you'll see this lightning, then a big boom, and then you'll hear the report a little bit later.
Yeah, the AC
And
one
they'll do
is
it.
out of Hurlburt.
Yeah, probably they'll do that all night
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah,
But
he said it's cool. You just sit there and you watch the tracers hit. So,
yeah, that is cool.
yep.
Okay, well, I'll let you go. Hey, thanks a lot, Marge. Bless you.
See you
Bless
later.
you. Travel safe,
Yep.
and give me a report. Oh, and both of those places have cute little things that you can bring your wife back. Little
Okay.
either a T-shirt or a cup,
T-shirts.
or yeah, kind of stuff like that.
Yep.
Here you go.
Yep.
Or a hat. Here you go.
right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya. See if Walt still needs help. How you doing, Walt?
You hear me?
You're still garbled.
Let's talk on the phone.
Okay, so I'm gonna put I'm gonna go on mute, but then I'll call you. called you a couple times. It's just going to your voicemail.
Wait a minute. Let me call you.
Okay.
Sounds like his microphone is underneath something.
Yeah.
Is it all connected?
I don't know.
And you were there?
Yeah.
Um,
Yes. You want me to, I think I speaker. I'll take you off speaker. That's a Windows laptop. My laptop, I think, you know how you put me on a program? Where you said I should, you made a Zoom that I would. I think that's interfering with me getting. Well, I'm okay. Right now, it says enter your password, okay? So I should enter your password, right? Hang on.
We get started late, or did I just come in really late?
You came in real late, and I was actually helping Walt with technical difficulties. I don't know what time it is for you. It's 7:30 now, and we go from 6 to 7.
Yeah, it's 8:30 here in East Tennessee.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it would almost be 5 o'clock your time, 5 to 6. But Walt was having issues, and so he was supposed to tie tonight, but his volume was way off. It was sounding like he was talking underwater. And so I was working with him for the past half hour after the meeting. I'm like, whoa, we got one more person coming in. So
Did you resolve his audio problems?
he's getting some kind of weird, I'm trying to think, firewall issue. I actually drove out to his house,
Oh, wow.
not this past weekend, but the previous weekend. And it's an hour one way. And
Yeah.
I tried to help him, and his laptop was having some kind of firewall issue that wasn't allow the Zoom to work. And that was beyond my ability. But we got his wife her laptop to work. All of a sudden now she's having the same firewall issue. And so it's like, I don't know if it's your antivirus or something, but I don't know if you have a computer guy to look at it. That's a little bit above me now. So
Interesting.
yeah, it
Okay.
is. It was some kind of error code 5003. I remember computer had it, but not his wife's.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I'm on my wife's computer and I'm getting error code. And he's like 5,000. I'm like 5003. He's like, yeah, how'd you know? I'm like, that's the same error code we were looking at when I was at your house, 2 weekends ago. So he's got some, I don't know if he's got a good antivirus and he's, got a virus or something on his computer now, and now it's on his wife's computer. So it's like, go talk to your computer guy.
Yeah. Doesn't sound healthy at all.
No, not at all.
No. I wish I had some advice.
Yeah. I'm good enough to be dangerous, but that's it. When they were telling me to go in his BIOS and all that, I'm like, I'm not going in there. That's a good way to mess up your computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could try drivers and stuff like that. And we tried 10 different things over 3 hours. And
Oh my goodness.
yeah, so.
Well, I'm an IT guy, but that is way above my pay grade. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I tried, and I went on Google and I put Zoom, 5003, and they said, here, try these 10 things. And we went through each one, and luckily they had step by step, hit this, do this, and I did that. And
Yeah.
none of it worked. And I could go when it's step by step like that, but once we went through all 10 items, I'm like, well, this is above me now, so.
Well, I will say a little prayer for him.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, we are going to be on next Monday again, but it's 6 o'clock Central. So for Eastern,
Right, be 7 to 8 here.
7 to 8. Yep. And I
Yep.
appreciate the help on where you were talking about. Was it the armor all cleaning the
Yeah.
lines? Because boy, I was shooting line way further than what I've ever done before.
Yeah.
Like going back and forth, and then sending it. And I was like, whoa, look at that go. And it was just zooming out there way further than what I had before. And in one area where I fish, the spin caster people have it a little bit easier than us, and they could get it further out. Most fly fishermen can't, because it's really hard to do a full back cast, and then roll cast is a little bit too far out. And
Yeah.
so I was actually finally getting into the good zone after I did that. I was like, oh my gosh. But some people were like, yeah, it's just, you have to be spot on with your back cast, and then having that Armor All allowed it to shoot out a good 10 foot longer than what I needed, but that put me right in the zone that I needed. So
Excellent,
yeah, it worked out good.
excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. Yeah, I routinely get the new folks, the newer folks that are just learning to cast, that I'll get them out, get them outside and tie on a yarn fly or no fly at all, and just get them into the rhythm of making that cast, of watching that loop until they really start feeling the energy in their wrist, and moving that cast further out 20 feet, 25 feet, 30 feet, and just letting the rhythm develop into their wrist.
Yeah.
And I tell them, just get out there in the yard, or you can cast on the water or cast anywhere, but just get out there and practice that casting. And it gets to the point where you start to develop a rhythm, a feel for that. And some of my casting sessions, I'll get out I've got a big, huge yard. So some of my casting sessions, I'll get out there and get into the Zen part of it. And I'll be casting with my eyes closed, literally with my eyes closed, and just having an absolute blast with it.
Yep. I think the thing I learned a couple months ago was, when I was trying for the distance, I kept on, letting line out, but there's a point where you just can't put too much line out, or then it just collapses. And I kind of learned, where I did some research where it's got, like they said, the shooting head, where it might be max 30 feet, and that's all you can do. And then it's on that last forward cast is when you're giving it, and even trying to do it a haul to get that energy, where then you're letting it go. And then that's where you shoot out what you can.
Yep.
I was trying to go like 40 feet, 50 feet. It just was collapsing.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that. There's the head shooting part is the most you can do. 30 feet is most you could do. But then when on that last is when you shoot it, and I'm like, well, I'm hearing people shoot, out to 90 feet. And they're like, there are some people that could do it where they got their 30 feet out, but when they're shooting, they shoot out an additional 60 feet. I'm like, holy smokes. And I'm like, yeah, those are the professionals though.
That's where they're getting into the double haul, and it really works for them. And that's expert level casting.
Yeah,
I've got a certified FFI certified fly casting instructor here. He's a member of our program, volunteer, and he'll shoot 100 feet all day long, and it just blows my mind. And he's slowly but surely, I've only been into this since 2019, but he's slowly but surely getting me up to 60 and 70 feet.
That's cool. Yeah, I started 19 as well. It was, I think September, October is when I started fly fishing myself. And then I met Amy, and around that time, and then she had a big meeting in November, and that's when I started coming out, and we did that for November, December, January, February. So about 4 months. And then that's the whole COVID thing hit and then shut us down. So.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you go, and then we'll see you next Monday.
Roger that. Have a great evening.
Thanks again.
You bet. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye now.